All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you for the second time in the week? It is Thinker St. James. We are back with a last week's fights extra, going over UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Brady, UFC London, as it were. And to do that with me, as always, is Mr. Chase Parton. How are you, sir?
Dude, we are here and I'm ready for these fights in a couple days. You know, it's a lot sooner than Monday, so it's positive for me. I'm ready to go. So this is gonna be a good one to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are currently being stood up by CagesideBadger, who was supposed to join us from England, claimed that he had all of the locks. He had done hours of research on this thing. He was going to be giving us the inside scoop like no one else could. And as you see, we don't see him here with us. So we're going to, I guess, go through some of this card, kind of do a little bit of a deeper analysis than we did on the show this week. And if Badger decides to show his face, then we will let him in. But for now, it's just your boys, last week's fights, mainstays right here with you. So I guess let's jump in on this thing. Guram Kutateladze versus Kue Fernandez. I had looked, I think both of them are 3-2 right now. Of course, Kutateladze winning over Jordan Vucenic, who is also on the card a little bit later on. Lost to Elvis Brenner, lost to Damir Ismagulov as well, and Gamrot as well. I mean, these are
He
okay.
beat Gamrot.
Okay, beat Gamrot. Excuse me.
Yeah,
beat
you
Gamrot.
better put respect and beat Jordan. I mean, that is maybe I am kind of disrespecting him because he does train. Listen, I made a joke about it in the Discord, but he does train with Ilya, so maybe there's some merit to him being at least decent. You know, you're only as good as the people you keep around, kind of deal.
Well, they brought the lines out, and he is a massive favorite in this fight against Kue Fernandez, who also 3-2. And I mean, I guess just skill for skill. They're thinking a win over Ronnie Yaya, lost to Mark DeCasey is not something that I think is very good to ever have. So I can see that being a problem for him. But I mean, both 3-2. Like, what sets Kutateladze apart? Do you think?
I don't really know. Like I said, I'm not really basing much of this on anything that I've seen with my own eyes because this dude is just run of the mill to me. But I will take some credit that I'm not always right. You know, some people are going to know better than me, and maybe Guram is going to get this one done. Minus 450 is a pretty big tag. And I actually think I've seen the Fernandez dude. He looks so familiar, but probably not memorable performance.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember seeing him. I remember the Mark DeCasey loss, and that's where, Mark DeCasey is like one of those measuring sticks for me, where it's like if you lose to him, then that's something that sticks out in my mind. You know what I mean? Because I've never really held him in very high esteem as far as his skills go. But yeah, it's not over Ronnie Yaya. It's the other Yaya, Muhammad Yaya.
Oh, but
yeah, forgot about that. Yes. I saw the M. I was like, wait a second. So,
nice.
Yeah, I remember Fernandez not being very memorable, and then of course Kutateladze won the fight over Vucenic. But I thought that Vucenic did pretty good in that fight too. So it's kind of one of those ones where it's a little bit tough based on the immediate recollection to make a definitive statement. How much do you weigh Kutateladze training with Ilya and Alexandre? Does that even really factor in that heavily for you?
No, don't tell me he trains with John Jones.
This is exactly, because I've seen that now, popping up here and there. The picture of the three of them is going around or whatever, or the fact that I think that both of them are going to be cornering Kutateladze. I think that's what they were saying. So it's like, oh, wow, that's awesome that you've got, a great and his brother in the corner for you. But does that translate to him,
Nope. Not one bit. But I mean, maybe they can help him, like, have a successful cut kind of deal, or, the procedures. Training, yeah, does matter that they do train together. But I mean, at the end of the day, he has to go out here and perform. Ilya can't come out here and save him. So,
Right. Exactly. TJF, how are you, sir? Thanks for checking in, brother. Appreciate you always doing so.
appreciate you, my man. I hope
Yeah.
you are having a great day because we were having a great time, ready to go. And then, here we are talking about the fucking fights again by ourselves. Shout out to the Badger for that one. And
Yeah,
what's crazy? I actually want to point this out
sure.
on stream. Tasha's up ready to go. So think about that, Badger. Put that
Yeah.
one on yourself.
That, I was gonna even save that as the extra special guest in the show that we had created in our minds here. It was like an extravaganza. I had,
I know.
here and here and here.
That is actually crazy to think about. We did have high hopes for this one, just pulling out all the strings for TJF. We were pulling out the strings for you. Like, it's crazy.
True. Well, hold the phone, people, because
no, we're not gonna get him on yet. No.
Oh, okay. Not that. Something else over here. We're getting a question about the main event here, asking if Sean Brady is going to win. However, it's coming in from Sean Brady himself. What? Are you kidding me, bro? Why are you not out there training right now? I mean, like you're hanging out watching streams. I like, granted, it is the middle of the night, so perhaps you're done for the day. But Sean Brady himself asking if we think he's going to win. Yes, Sean Brady, I think that you're definitely going to win.
Yeah, no glaze. With the staff involved, and honestly, Leon's on the downfall, and Sean Brady, you being that Goliath of a man that you are, of course, you're going to come out here and stomp him. I'm going for finish. I don't know if you're going to do it on the feet. Don't know if it's going to be ground and pound. Don't know if you're just going to pull an arm triangle once you put him to exhaustion. Maybe you've had dreams just like Bilal, but yours, you finish Leon at the end. I don't know.
For sure. And I mean, really, you tell us, and B, when and if you get that win, you come back in and you can tell us in the chat how you did, what your
shout us out was at the fucking post fight. Like, come on, get on there and be like, think you're St. James, Yama and CP.
Yeah,
they
for
knew.
Real. Absolutely. Most definitely. The Hive gets a shout out. Well, Hive making itself not look so great.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Now.
No, not the fucking Hive. Last week's fights.
Last week's fights, brother.
We got a faction inside of the faction here.
Word. But yeah, I mean, okay, you did mention the staff. I was on Fight Show yesterday. Shout out to the Fight Show guys, great group of dudes over there. And I had brought up the staph infection thing, right? And there was an interesting set of responses to how they all perceived staph and what they thought its place was in factoring how you look at the fight, like what lens you put it through based on that. Because I think it was Tanner who was like, I don't even know if he actually has it. And I was like, bro, that image definitely made it look like it. Of course, this was before he came out and confirmed it. Leon Edwards.
Meteors landed on that dude's arm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was crater and everything, as I had said. I mean, it was absolutely consistent with how staph looks, especially with Leon's complexion. So it was not mistakable for ringworm, and as far as I'm concerned. So Leon,
that's actually what that is.
What's that?
That's what that wow, I might be stupid. Like, are you dead ass? Ringworm is staph infection.
No, I'm saying that ringworm and staph infection are two different things, but they can be mistaken for one another.
Yeah,
they look kind of similar.
It does look like a ring. I mean, I would have felt really dumb if all this time I would have been like, wow. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically, if it's at a low stage of the staph is like an early or later stage of it, where it's already receding back into the skin, after the crater has healed up or whatever. Because the whole thing with the staph is that that middle erosion in your skin can eventually open up and out. I don't know if you saw those pictures of Kevin Randleman that were posted in the Discord a while back of how bad his got. But you could see through the upper layer of his skin into his body.
Right.
They were rather harrowing. But yeah. So, but at a certain stage of it, it can look like ringworm. But this was definitely staph when it came to Leon. And no, he's confirmed that it was, but he's saying now it was 6 weeks out. So I guess that picture might have been a little bit older. What are you thinking about this?
I think it's a 5-round fight. It's gonna be hard, man. Like, going 3 rounds with staph or coming off staph, and it was just a couple weeks ago, or you're on the antibiotics, or you just got off, and whatever stage you're in. I mean, 3 rounds, they all talk about how brutal it is. You got to go 2 extra against somebody who's on a full camp, healthy, was I mean, it wasn't full camp. No, this was short notice. I apologize because this was originally JDM and Leon.
JDM, yeah, but I mean,
Yes,
what for Leon?
decent enough.
I mean, Leon was. Oh, it was supposed to be JDM and Sean Brady.
No, JDM and Leon. I'm
JDM,
saying Sean
JD.
Brady. I'm saying Sean Brady. He's coming in here. I mean,
Yeah, it was
doesn't
Sean.
have staff.
Oh, right. It got okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I think I lost track of you for a second there, but yeah. When it for Leon though, I mean, he's saying that it's 6 weeks out. I guess like that you can still decide how that part like affects the actual fight itself. But like my thing is what I said on Fight Show. It cannot help. There's no way, shape, or form that it can be beneficial on top of all of the other elements that are going against him in that fight. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's just one extra piece to it. But
Yeah,
all right,
go back down to that
hey,
first fight.
we
No,
took
go
a
back
little.
down to Guram. Go back down to his ass. Let's get another word on him.
Yeah, we detoured to the main event, but back down
I
to the
mean,
beginning here. We're just
Sean
starting
Brady
out.
joined. We had to go ahead
It's
and give him his word. I mean,
very
come
true.
on. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you for stopping in, Sean. Appreciate
I
it.
mean,
And,
okay.
good luck.
Guram's got 4 losses though. Think about that. I mean, compared to 2, I know it's not everything in the world, but it's like this dude ain't no world beater. If he was 13-1, okay, minus 450, I could see it. But like, I don't know why I'm so hesitant on this guy. And who was the other person? Oh, we'll talk about him. No, Gunner is the other
Gunner.
person.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that fight for
But
sure.
like this one is like the same thing. It's like I don't think I've witnessed with my own eyes a performance that makes me say this guy can win anything that comes against him. And I don't believe that about everybody I see, but like, they got to have something.
Well, what I'm seeing from this record is a couple of losses early, which is normal in your career, even though they were back to back, so that's not always great. But 2 there early on, and then a lot of finishes, and then a lot of unanimous decisions. But when he finally gets over to the UFC, that's when things start to. I mean, like, now, granted, he won his first fight in the UFC against Potato Shamrock.
He's 2-2 in the UFC.
Yeah. 2-2 in the UFC. But in his last 5, 3-2, and then a huge win streak that was all of before that. So I mean,
but you got to look at in this case, like in this one specifically, like I know you want to talk about the last 5. He's 3-2, but it's like, well, the last 4 were in the UFC. I mean, that's a better gauge than the one brave fucking, like.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of getting at as well, is that like with this massive win streak coming into the promotion, it looks like, what level of fighter was he fighting at that point, and also like is the jump up into the actual big show something that he's going to be able to course correct on. I mean, he's got the Vucenic win, but that was on short notice for Vucenic. And Vucenic looked pretty good in that fight. So it's one of those tough ones to call. That's why I think it's actually good matchmaking in this regard, because Fernandez could have had some off nights on the fights that he lost and been this, dude who we really should be taken much more seriously, but he hasn't gotten to show it all off yet. And a win over Muhammad Yahya just isn't enough to get us to that point of thinking that.
What do you think of the odds being raised on Jordan, in his favor, because people believe that Guram is some good like guy? I mean, if Guram comes out here and gets smoked by Fernandez, Jordan doesn't look that good anymore.
Well, I mean, if Jordan goes out and gets the job done against Duncan, then end of story, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying if Guram loses, or if he somehow I'm going into the other fight, I'm questioning Jordan even more, and I'm already questioning Guram. So I mean, it could go either way. I mean, it could be better for both of them or worse for both of them. But I think more interesting enough is the worst side of it. Is my opinion.
Well, I see what you're saying with that. I get where your head's at, but it's like, so now you've got this interesting dynamic, right? Where it's like you've got Guram and Kue. Now, what level both of them come in at because of their previous fights, and then how that affects the other one. I mean, really, I think that for Vucenic, like going out and being definitive against Duncan, who also is in the same basic, like, quadrangle, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because Duncan's coming in off of that submission, right? Was that his last fight? The Balagioki fight? Let me see here.
That I'm not sure of.
Yeah, where is it? You said that's main card. Yeah.
Yes.
So Chris Duncan, the 4th leg of this thing. Yeah, that was the Blachiochi fight was the last one. And his only loss in his last 5 to Manuel Torres. Now, I mean,
you can ask the same question that I'm asking about Manuel Torres. He came out his next fight and got smoked by Ignacio Bahamondes, at the Sphere, and he looked like he was never as good as people thought he was. Like he looked, whatever. So is Chris Duncan on the opposite side of that? Does he look worse because he got subbed by a dude who's not really that good now?
Well, see, this is why I think that MMA math is something that you really should never start going down the road of. You know what I mean? Because there's that classic meme of how like you can trace back whoever it was. Like you can do it with anybody basically, but it's like you can pick a fighter who's not that like Kron Gracie. You can figure out a way to MMA math so that he would beat Islam, like it's stuff like that, or John Jones, like there's always a million ways to do that. So like, I don't think that MMA math really is like reliable when it comes to making your predictions. I think it has to be based more on the fighter as they are at the moment. But this is tough with these guys because it's like we only have the most current information based on what we're coming into these fights with. So, when it comes to like what level these dudes are at this point, we have the most recent fight. Hopefully that they've gotten better, not worse. Not, some people do regress.
True.
These are the things.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a hard thing to gauge. And I actually would like to derail because there's nothing more that I have to say about Guram. But if you go to the next fight, if you're done on this one, this is really important.
I mean, I'm going to stick with my initial pick. Well, I guess that's also something that we should make note of here. Like we're actually doing predictions on this one, so we should come to some definitive conclusions.
Oh yeah,
and we also did on last week's fights too. So my initial thought, because I think some of them might change, but my initial thought was Guram. I'm gonna stay with that. You going with him as well?
I'm gonna go with Guram. Yeah, I would like to believe finish, but decision is probably likely.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well.
So you do not have, I don't know if you need to refresh your ESPN how to get this, but there is an updated picture of Nathan Fletcher and Kalen Loughran. And Kalen Loughran, oh, it's not doing it for you, dude. I don't remember.
On here?
Yes, yeah. It's only in the little circle picture. If you look at Nathan Fletcher, he's got his though. He's got his little new cut right there. He's actually got hair. And then Kalen, dude, this new haircut that he's got. See if it updates. Oh my gosh, it's not letting it show. Oh my gosh. So do you remember that one Brazilian girl who got headbutt and I forget her fucking name. She was real new and she was on the bottom position and she kept getting headbutted and then she never got back in the TKO or disqualification or whatever.
Yes, I remember because
got the same haircut as her. Oh my gosh, it's actually hilarious.
Trying to see if they have any updated images of him, but
I am actually appalled right now. This is so funny. I can only see it in the little circle one though. They don't have it on the big one, but like you can see in the little bubble photo, like he's got a new cut and it's
because
horrendous.
Anything that I'm seeing on Google is all the same.
I'm about to look on Getty Images because this is important. And this is part of the research. This is part
all
of
right.
the research.
How much do you factor the cut into your decision
making? No. Once you see this cut, oh my gosh! Once you see this cut, you will understand it. I found it. I found it.
All right. I think that you should be able to take over the sharing.
Let me see. Here, I can just drop them. I think I can just drop them for you. I'll just do that. We'll just make it real quick. This is important, guys. You guys are gonna love this. Promise. Promise. And this is even better than what I thought you could see before. So I'm glad you made me do the extra leg. Please look at this, dude.
Oh, okay.
Please look at this, dude.
Can you throw it into the chat on here though?
Oh, I don't think I can drop a file in it.
Just the copy and paste it, the URL.
It's on. Yeah, it's not gonna.
Yeah, he actually his is closer to Nathan Fletcher's. If Fletcher parted it in the on the side instead of the middle.
All right, see if that link works. Yeah. Look at that. Golly.
Yeah.
Look at the cut on that bugger.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I can see it, but I'm saying so we can show it on here.
Yeah. I can't
do any Discord open.
What can I? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. My bad.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, team. We are just
yeah,
having a
we're working
grand
through
old
the
time.
working through the technicalities here.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes. Yes, guys. Let me
Uh,
know if that is aura or not.
I mean,
And if you would buy that photo for $375 digitally.
Yo, legit. Start the bidding now. Yeah, no, I think that he's got a very classic, like late 80s, early 90s.
Paperboy.
Nah, fuck that, dude. This is like him trying to do a like a David Bowie style runway model from the 80s deal, brother.
What?
That's what this is
Oh
looking
my
like. The
goodness.
sides are a little too long for it though.
I like Nathan Fletcher's new cut. I like his because it's a more natural, you know. And in this part of in the middle, it does have a nice little swoop to it. But this one is just, dude, this is
Oh,
why
Fletcher just looks like one of the Beatles.
no, he looks like Tom Cruise, dude.
Fletcher looks like Tom
Pull.
Cruise.
All right, all right.
Hold
I
on.
got you. I got you. Yes, yes. If you don't think that, mate, look at what I just said.
Here? Oh, okay. Hold on. I got
Mate,
you.
this is Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise when though? What off of what?
Bro, that's a Tom Cruise looking dude.
This is
if you told me ain't Tom Cruise from England, like that's what I would think. Like that guy right there.
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. This looking like Tom Cruise. This does not look like Tom Cruise in the slightest, brother.
Are you kidding me?
Off of what? Off of, give me a movie, my dude.
Mate. Do I have to like? Oh my god, it's there. I don't know how you don't see it. Like he literally looks like Tom Cruise. He literally looks like Tom Cruise on any movie. The face is like just his. Like that is what's crazy.
I'm not seeing this at all, brother. I'm not.
Either way,
I've seen Tom Cruise movies before.
Either way,
like some of them.
I think the haircut battle is going to Nathan Fletcher, and I would know a lot about hair, so Nathan Fletcher is going to win this one because he actually,
So we're going off of hairstyle, hair for hair. He's winning.
We're going hair for hair, bar for bar. Nathan Fletcher is winning in that department. Kalen Lochran, though, hey, and maybe he comes out with a fresh cut. He already took his pictures. Maybe he'll go get one because he's been training all of the time. Maybe that's just how his hair naturally grows. That's probable. So I'm not going to clown too much.
Maybe they're so focused on their training that they don't care so much about the cut, brother. Maybe that's what it is.
That's what it comes down to, man. You got to really be grinding.
Yeah, I think that is what happens with these guys, like these two right here.
I actually don't know if we've had this debate. This is a great stream to have it. I have said for the longest time, if you are going to be great, if you are going to be at the all-time, and this really applied to basketball at the time, but I still believe this. The greats go bald, and they keep it bald.
You have mentioned this before too, that the more serious you take it, the shorter the hair gets, right?
I don't know if that's the correlation. I just know the less upkeep, the more time you can spend on your craft. If you wake up and it's just a yin, 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 go on about your day, instead of doing the whole shampoo, condition, it's like, it's your scalp at that point,
I agree. Yo, shout out to Tika23 and Mikhail Tall checking in. Appreciate it.
Hey, actually, as great moment to add. Can you send me the link to the thing? You actually sent me the wrong link earlier, so that was.
Well, I sent you the link to invite Badger, who did not end up coming on. So this.
Yes, because I'll be shouting out all the people in the chat. I'll make sure they get plenty of love.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on a second. I got you, brother.
And we appreciate everybody who's been here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for checking in and hanging out with us.
Okay, so back to the actual fight, other than the hairstyles. I think originally I had Kalen Lochran. I don't know if the problem is I talk too early. Like I'll come in Saturday. We talk about the fights, in the Discord. Sunday, we talk about the fights that happen. And then on Monday, we're already moved on. Like during the day, we're moved on in the Discord to the next week of fights. So I've already talked about everything. And then I've already made my mind on the next week's kind of deal. And then I switch up. So coming in here, I'm pretty sure I had Kalen Lochran by KO. I don't know if I said that on last week or on Monday's show, but as of right now, I think I've been swayed to go with Nathan Fletcher, and I think I like that better because I've watched this dude on Tough. I've watched him, fight through a broken leg. I've watched him get a sub victory against a dude I thought that was really good with a broken face on Tough. Whatever the story may be, Kalen Lochran is just the Keebler elf. Like he's just a meme to me. Like I could care less if he wins or loses.
He's the Fighting Irish logo.
I'm yeah,
Oh yeah.
literally.
You
Yeah.
see, if he turned his fist inward, he certainly would be.
Yeah,
Um,
he does have a blockhead too.
yeah. Well, I mean, look, he looked pretty good in his like the I don't know if it was his first fight in the organization, but 2 fights ago, I thought he looked like he was a dude who might be able to like, even though he's a little undersized, like be a kind of one of those bulldoggy kind of fighters, gets in there and sort of muscles around and stuff. Um, Based on like seeing Fletcher, like you said on Tough, I think both of us went with Fletcher on last week's fights because I think that Fletcher like really pulled it off in his last fight in the that was the Ultimate Fighter finale, right?
No,
No,
nope.
oh, that was afterwards.
That was the redemption kind of moment
Oh,
because
right.
Ziggy, they both got injured.
Yes, right. So technically it would have been the finale for them if they had not gotten injured or whatever. Like
I
one of
mean,
them could have gotten there.
Nathan lost, but he lost with a broken leg. So like Dana was like,
Oh, okay.
we'll let him on the show if he fights Ziggy because Ziggy didn't get to fight in the finals because his face was broken.
See, this is why I need you for all of these intricate details, my guy, because it's too much of a narrative sometimes to keep every one of them in my head. But yes, now that you say that, I do recall. But in his last fight, though, right, that was Ziggy Mantis, and we
And
thought that
subbed him.
yeah, subbed him, right, off of that Gator roll too. Wasn't that fight where he like had to he had to go down and like roll through it a couple of times? I want to say that was that fight.
It was probably pretty nasty, dude. I remember I had Ziggy because, dude, I thought that dude was an animal, but he really put that dude into retirement after one UFC fight.
I mean, yeah, who knows what happened there, right? I mean, it's still a big
I'm,
mystery.
I want to say he went back to serve. I know that's not like a comment. Like in the NBA, when people do stuff like that, you'll hear about it. Like when Laurie Markkinen left the NBA to go serve for whatever, whatever army it was, like to do his time. Like it was a big story. But like with Zigomantis, nobody's gonna give a shit. He's just gonna go and he's just like another dude in the military again.
Come on, there's
Like
got to be some MMA outlet that would have said though, right? I mean, like somebody would have been like, "What happened to this dude getting cut after one fight?" Like at least
and
follow up on some regard.
I remember no army. Yeah, well, maybe not. I remember walking out of the store thinking like, even if Josine Nunes had a bad cut and she posted it, like what outlet is gonna give a shit? Like what outlet is gonna like post and be like, hey guys, Nunes said she had a bad cut. Like Crazy Kev is not posting that shit. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, look, I think that there's a definite value to it. If maybe that's a niche that needs to be exploited for somebody, because for exactly the reasons that we're talking about, exactly when it comes down to who you're actually going to be picking or whatever. Like, I mean, those are like the details. So, like, it reminds me of the movie Casino. Robert De Niro's character was an odds maker in that movie, and that's the whole thing what they talk about. Like he started off placing bets and like he would go deep. He would know if the quarterback's girlfriend was cheating on him and all this kind of stuff. Like that's the kind of shit that you need to know to like accurately get your 100% full on assessment as to who to put the money on, right? So that's what you need to know. If you're going deep into the card, if you're just putting all your money on the on main card and like the main event or whatever, then
so so what you're saying is, and this is just a long shot, right? Is that in the near future there needs to be a TMZ sports betting outlet where they follow around the athletes and give you the inside information on how to bet properly by exposing their bad moments.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to go like that, but there should definitely be somebody who's watching their Instagrams. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's checking out their
I
Twitters
mean
and shit.
there is. I can tell you who they are, and I don't think you're gonna like the type of person they are because his name's Crazy Kev.
Well, but you just said Kev wouldn't cover it.
I mean, that's unfortunately the actuality. Like Kevin covers a lot of people's stories, like even to the point where I'm like, you're gonna tell me you were watching this dude's live just for him to catch this moment? Like, gosh, you really must have had like nothing to do, kind of deal. Like, what are you listening to fucking Shauna Bannon's fucking live for, just for her to talk about how good of a weight cut she's having? You know what I mean? Like, it's you listen to certain stuff. People are gonna want to hear certain stuff. If he, reported on, and you know what? I'll go ahead and bash Kev. A while back, he wanted to post clickbaity fucking shit about Pooja Tomir because it was it was back when Twitter was shitting on Indians, and he was posting shit just to get engagement for the fans to fucking shit in his comments on Pooja Tomir, and he had
Yeah.
nothing good to say at that moment. And that's just the point that I'm making. Like, even if she went on her story and was like, man, I'm having a bad day, but I had a great camp. Like, he's gonna be like, man, she's having a bad day, blah blah, and then people are just gonna shit on her. Like, I don't know. He was setting up a different
Right. So
fucking.
you think that he's spinning it?
I mean, in that specific scenario, he was, but even if it was somebody like Nunez, like, he's not gonna fucking go there and accurately depict what the actual. He's like, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that there is still like value in knowing those things to an extent, but at the end of the day, MMA is like the most unpredictable sport on the planet anyway. So all of those factors can play however they're going to, and that fighter can still end up winning, or they could have no problems whatsoever and end up having the worst fight of their life. So I
You
don't
know
know.
what? I actually talked about this in the Discord because the topic came up about getting fighters out of the apex because they fight better in front of a crowd. And just like you're saying, if you're a real fighter, you got to be able to pull through anything and get the job done if this is what you're going to do and you're going to be great at it. And Kevin Vallejos, last week is a good example. Unfortunate situation for his opponent, but if you want to be great, you got to do certain things and you got to be the winner and you got to win certain ways. Kevin Vallejos is probably not going to be in the fucking apex anymore. So that's the point I was making, is like, if you want out the apex, I mean, you can give it one good opportunity and you can get out the motherfucker. Like, Alex got out the apex. Carlos Praetus got out the apex. I mean, I know that he fought on the fucking Apex 100 kind of deal, but he's getting out the apex. John
I mean,
Silva out the apex.
I take a little bit of umbrage with the idea that the apex is like the gulag for fighters who aren't good enough to be out on the road. Come on, man. I mean, there's some good fights in the apex. Like,
No,
you're just saying that
I
there are
love it.
levels to it.
I'm saying, like, if you're gonna be the true class of fighter that I'm supposed to root for, you do it in any situation. The apex shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter if you got a big crowd behind you. It doesn't matter if it's your mom or dad sharing you in the apex. Like, the people that are really like that fucking good, they're gonna do it no matter what. Like,
Right.
they'll do it in the backyard. So
Yeah,
I
for
don't.
sure. No, definitely agree with that. And I mean, to an extent, though, you are correct, right? I mean, like, obviously, the stars go on the pay-per-views. That's how this sport works. So
Like, people are worried about, oh, this dude would be such a star if it wasn't in the apex. It's like, guys, we've seen stars get out the apex. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
yeah, and I mean, like, I don't have an example off the top of my head, but we've seen stars made in the apex too. I mean, like, Kevin Vallejos could be a great example of that if he becomes that. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen champions come off of the Contender Series. Like,
Yeah.
this is how this sport works. So anytime that you're watching a fighter, you're witnessing a part of the narrative, no matter where it is at any given time. You know what I mean?
100%.
So, all right, back to this fight though. I mean, Fletcher, I think, is a dude who fights pretty gritty, but I thought Loughran did as well. Is, I guess, the main point that like was conflicting me at all with this fight. But based on the fact that Loughran was able to be controlled in his last fight is why I think that I'm going with Fletcher more than anything. Because what?
I was gonna say, thank you to CSP promoter for the
Oh yeah,
facial hair comment. But no, I controlled is kind of crazy to say, because didn't Kalen, like, he faced Jake Hadley and Jake Hadley missed weight and then just boxed him up on the feet, if I recall. Like, it was more of just a standing at the striking distance for Hadley, and he kind of just had his way with Kalen, and Kalen just never activated his aggression.
yeah.
That bulldog, that you're expecting. This nickname's the Don, like, dude. And he did beat Angel Pacheco. Oof.
Okay,
That's why I had hope for him, honestly.
right.
After the Angel Pacheco one, I was like, oh, he's gonna finish Jake Hadley. And then Jake Hadley misses weight, and then he beats him on the feet. I don't remember if it was necessarily too much grappling.
Then maybe what I'm thinking is that he tried to go for the same amount of control that he got on Pacheco and was not able to do it. Because I just remember him being one of those fighters that's not really throwing a hell of a lot. Like, he was like, he probably needed to up his output with his hands and was trying to rely too much on the wrestling, trying to get Hadley on the cage. I mean, I want to say that that's the case, because I know that in the Pacheco fight, he was controlling a ton, but he was doing it effectively in that fight and winning with it. So I guess that's really more, maybe that's what I'm mistaking there.
That was definitely a heartbreaking matchup for Angel Pacheco to lose. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He hasn't been back, has he?
No, he hasn't, too. That's the craziest part. I was thinking about him the other day. I'm like, I even tweeted at Dana White. I'm not gonna lie. This is Dana White. Hear me out. This is a fighter that you went backstage personally to handshake and tell him that he was gonna get a contract that he lost. And now he ain't been seen in a year plus. And I tweeted at you, where the fuck is he at?
Wow.
and I didn't get no response. So you better start listening to your fandom, because if I don't see Angel Pacheco in the goddamn Apex getting a punching bag performance this fucking year, I'm tired. Same with Usman, dude. We're tired of it. Where is he at? Thank
Well, Usman, I think, is a different story. Usman, I think, is not around because he don't want to be around. That's
True.
that's my assessment of that. We were talking about that not too long ago, and I mean, dude, I don't think enough people are. Oh, you're actually going for this? Okay,
Oh yeah, I was thinking about it for a little bit, but I got to test it out for Saturday,
all
and
right.
it's not as red as we needed it to be. And honestly, this is not as easy as I thought it was gonna be to paint my fucking face in the camera. But we can do a cross.
We're going
We
all
could.
kinds of off the rails here.
Well,
Uh,
there's nothing to do when Badger don't show up, so we got to get
yeah, thanks a lot,
interesting.
Badger. Appreciate that.
Now Chase is going fucking crazy. He's
Yeah.
painting his face, guys. Guys,
um,
he's painting his face. No, but
yeah. Well,
I think this one will be interesting. I think this is potential. Unfortunately, I think it's potential easy win for Fletcher. Like if he goes in here and does what he should with the grappling, Kalen don't have he don't have a chance.
yeah. Well, then, all right. Then, I mean, based on my lack of a correct remembrance of it, my lack of correct memory.
You might be right. Honestly, I don't know. You would think, because I think it was one of those things where it was. I think we were surprised with Hadley. It's like, oh, he missed weight. He's just gonna use his grappling or out wrestle him with the extra pounds or whatever. But I think we were surprised that he just like stood with him the entire time, and Kalen just did not, like, it was one of those performances. Like I'm like, do something, just advance, just go in there and just go for it. But I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, if
And
he's
that's
going to
another
be,
reason,
yeah.
and that's another reason why I'm kind of skeptical. Like after people, Nathan Fletcher, he hasn't proved me wrong yet. He's only, switched my, mindset around on him. So Kalen I don't know, he's on sketchy water.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. I think that it's going to be interesting for that reason. If Kalen's going to be trying to muscle him around and whatnot, I mean, Fletcher is a little bit taller than him. I think that he's kind of, his build is just a little bit different from the smaller guy. It's going to be interesting to see if he's actually able to do that at all. But Fletcher is decent on the ground, as we said. I mean, I seem to remember that was that fight that he had to like stick with the choke that he had to actually submit his opponent, Gigamantis, that we were talking about.
Mhm.
So if that's the case, then if it's going to end up going to the ground, Fletcher theoretically should have an advantage there, because Loughran didn't submit Pacheco. Like he was just really controlling him a lot of that fight,
Mhm.
if I recall.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that
No,
Fletcher.
he just beat him up the entire time. It was a 3-round beatdown.
Well, definitely that too. But I think that anytime it was on the ground, it wasn't like he was going for a submission. He was really just controlling more than like
Right.
actively seeking it.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think Fletcher should take this fight. It's even money, really. I mean, like that, it's a pick 'em on the odds. So I mean, go with your gut, I suppose, but I think Fletcher should be the one to be able to do it.
True.
All right. So I had said on the show that Shauna Bannon has never really impressed me all that much, and you were saying that you were more impressed with her. Can you make your case for Shauna Bannon as you paint your face?
In her last performance, dude, Shauna looked pretty good. She looked just as good as Pooja, and Pooja arguably lost. Like Pooja has this Taekwondo style, and Shauna, when I watched her the first time, I don't remember her fighting like that. And so her last matchup, she like it felt like she adopted a different type of style, just to, use her length a little better. And she was great. I thought she was doing it well. Obviously a decision merchant, but like, she was point fighting to the best of it.
She was fighting Alice Ardelian, however it's pronounced. Uh,
Ardalion.
yeah, Ardelian. So that was the fight she was in, and I mean, Ardelian is pretty tough too. I remember this being a like a not one-sided fight. You know what I mean? Like I thought that Ardelian,
It
because I
was a
remember.
robbery, not gonna lie to you,
Yeah,
but
so there you go. So I mean, like so I would agree that Bannon's probably somewhat improved from the fight with Bruna Brazil, but it's still never been like, oh, that's next up. You know what I mean? Like I've never
true.
like seen her been like, oh, this is the star in the making kind of deal. So um that being said, I think that Pooja is a little bit feistier than Bannon is. Bannon is more controlled. I think Pooja is a little bit more fast twitch. Pooja seems like the type that goes out there with the express intention of showing that she's tough. And that sometimes can be a good thing and sometimes can be a very dangerous thing, because you go out there too overzealous when you don't necessarily have like the full skill set to make that work. And you can get overwhelmed. Your opponent can figure out the movements. There's a lot of different things that can happen when you're going out there like really headstrong. So it's going to be interesting to see if the controlled approach from Bannon can, strategically and methodically overcome the scrappiness. And I think that you made a grave miscalculation by doing
think,
this.
I was waiting for a moment to let you guys know that this didn't go as well as I thought it would. This was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I thought I had a good plan, but now we are stuck with this. This is pink. I thought I was mixing a lot of red, and I thought it was, I was just going to go over it a little more. It didn't work.
Why did you start the cross so low, though?
Well, that's because I was gonna do it like that. Like I didn't want to do my whole fucking dude.
Oh, you were just gonna do the lower half.
I was just gonna do a. So we'll add some. Maybe it comes together. We'll add some white.
I think that the white's gonna be the issue because it's.
I should have done the white first. Yeah.
Well, or just to see how white's actually gonna show up, because it's like sometimes
I got the white. I got it.
White might not like actually show through, and it's just gonna be this pink mass.
Well, that's why I didn't put it. That's why I didn't put it over the white.
All right. Well. Oh no, that actually shows up. I give this white pretty good credit over here. That is visible. It's not just a little bit of sheen on your skin.
We can salvage this. We can, come on now.
All right.
Listen.
Well,
Michelangelo stared at the boulder for a while.
Chase Parton 2025 right there. Quote that one. That's your clip. Michelangelo stared at the boulder. All right. Well, so anyway, we just got into this fight. So you're taking Shauna in this?
I still think I'm sold on Shauna. Like Pooja, I like to root for the people that I really, really like, and I hate to break it to you, but most of the people that I really, really like are just those fucking dogs. Like Pooja is good, but I don't know. I just don't.
Well, I think she is that, though. That's what I'm saying. I think that the assessment is a little skewed here, because I think that Pooja.
I mean, I remember her screaming at her opponent last time, but
yeah, you know what I'm saying. She goes out there like with the feistiness. She's got the fight. Yeah, I don't know how much of it is real or how much of it is the put on in the fight. I
think that's more or less of it, because I think she was also like, all right, I gotta fucking win, because this is the first fucking UFC win for somebody from India, So I think I think she was just trying to putting on a front a little bit, but I could be wrong. Now that she's,
she got the win, though.
She did get the win, but I think this time it's like, I don't know. I see her not doing that this time, but that's just my opinion.
Well, yeah. Does Shauna Bannon have lip injections?
Yes, she has full plastic surgery all over her face.
Yeah, 100%. She's just like plasticed up over here. I wonder how lip injections factor into getting punched in the face. Is there a possibility that somebody could split that lip and that be a big problem?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, plastic titties get popped all the time.
I guess that's a good point. We haven't seen
but
that.
I guess it's different. I guess it's like injections versus like actually a plastic bag.
Yeah, I don't know. Shauna Bannon has that, I think they call it the chav look over there. It's like a very
I feel like you've talked about this before.
Yeah, I think I did mention that last time we talked about her. So I don't know if that clouds my judgment to some extent. You think she's fine? I don't know.
I mean, she's a very beautiful one. I love all women.
There you go. That's a good answer. Good diplomatic answer. That being said, take it back to business here. I'm still going with Pooja. I'm with it.
I don't dislike it. I mean, if she wins, I will be upset, of course, because I'm losing money. But listen, a win is a win for India at the end of the day.
Fair indeed. But Bannon could take it. I mean, she is the favorite in the fight. I think Pooja's a decent dog in this one, but Pooja definitely needs to rein in the wildness. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, if she can get Shannon, to not be a point fighter, I think she'll definitely have an advantage. But I think Shannon's going to be able to use her range a lot better. Like Pooja's really short and stubby, and they
that is
fight the
true.
exact same way. And Pooja fights like a ranged fighter.
I don't remember that. She wasn't trying to get inside.
A lot of side kicks.
Hmm.
A lot of side kicks from the outside. I mean, that was like her main move, and Shauna's really good at that too because she's got these long ass legs. But I don't know. She was getting. I mean, Pooja was doing better to like get inside and like actually do something, but I don't remember her actually like cooking on the inside. This didn't turn out horrible. I mean, it's coming along.
Yeah, actually, now that you added the white to it, I actually kind of agree. I think that I think this worked out better than expected. But are you going to stop and just have this like the flag over the mouth part, and that's going to be it, like almost like a COVID mask? All right, fair. Okay, I'm with it. I think that actually turned out okay. Yeah, it's salvaged by Chase Parton. I appreciate it.
Okay, we can chill now. I think it does its job. I mean, you guys know that this is for England.
Let us know.
I'll do the nose. I could do the nose too, and then the cross. You know what?
I think if you take it over the nose, I think that takes it home.
Rudolph style.
There you go. So all right, let's keep moving over here as far as these fights go. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andre Puliev, just added to the roster today. We saw the roster tracker update. So Puliev is in the promotion. He is on this card. He was on the Contender Series. He won on the Contender Series. Obviously.
One of many people to be confused with Alex's former opponent.
That's on me. Yes, I now know, but I still don't remember his name off the top of my head. Fuck, I needed to commit it to memory and still don't have it. But it wasn't him. It was not Andre.
Needless to say, was not him, boys.
Yeah, got a contract off a unanimous decision though. So I mean, take that for what it is. Did not come out on the Contender Series and walk through his opponent. So at least we've seen some ability to take the fight into later rounds. Christian Leroy Duncan, 10-2, huge favorite in this fight. His last loss to RoboCop. Of course, RoboCop is a beast and an animal at the same time. So
and a person on a loss, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, he's a person on a loss, but he lost to Jared Cannonier, who looked fantastic and navigated that fight extremely well. I think that really RoboCop's biggest, like his downfall in that fight was him trying to go out and overwhelm Cannonier early. And as I think I mentioned on that episode of the show, I think that fight shows just how bad the early stoppage against Nasruddin Imavov was when it came to Jared Cannonier, because obviously Cannonier was, he had to weather.
He had him right where he wanted him,
I mean, I'm not saying that would have been, but I'm saying the Cannonier can weather some heavy adversity, and stopping it on the feet was not how that should have ended. So unfortunate there. Oh, you're going to have to retouch up the red now. You went into it.
I know. Well, because I messed up. I was going at an angle, so now I'm I'm retouching up what I once messed up.
Yeah, and please in the chat, let us know what you're thinking about this experiment from Chase, because this is definitely something new and interesting for the show. So as far as Christian Leroy Duncan goes, pretty well in the bag. You thinking?
This is also another one where I'm just like slightly hesitant.
Based on Puliev on the Contender Series?
Based on Christian Leroy Duncan have once letting me down. Like I once thought this dude was the guy, right? And then but he was beating a lot of bums at the time. And
well, was he? I mean, let's go back and see.
Daniel Talulin.
Yeah, to Dennis Talulin.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's
yeah. Oh, good point. I think we did touch on this. Yeah, lost to Armin Petrosian does not age well in the slightest.
No, that kind of ruins that ruins a lot.
Yeah. Ooh. Claudio Ribeiro win. Yeah. Now you're making me second guess it a little bit, but I don't know. I think I'm sticking with it. I mean, Puliev coming in on the Contender Series, untested against a guy who has now a lot of experience in the organization.
True. You're actually cooking right there. He's not green at all right now.
Exactly.
I should say, is the better thing.
Yeah. And really, so I think what it's going to come down to, if I recall, and I know obviously my memory has not been the greatest with some of these recollections here, but I want to say that RoboCop did a lot of controlling in that fight.
Oh,
has to be
yeah, he
hurt. Fuck
fucked him
that.
up against the cage. That's
Yeah,
all he did was just
right.
mash him against the cage,
So
elbows, knees, and it was brutal. So if Christian is able to get a fight where he's, at range and able to play his part, I think it'll be really good.
right. I mean, I guess that's kind of what I was going with in the opposite direction as far as like if Puliev's going to be able to go in there and muscle him around, then maybe he does have 2 inches on him. Take that for however much you emphasis you put on it. But I mean, that's it. That's a best case scenario for him, I would say. I mean, if he's going to go hand for hand with him, I think that Duncan's a pretty powerful guy, right?
Oh yeah, that dude's a beast, and he mixes in a lot of different things:
Yeah.
elbows, knees, spinning
Last 3
attacks.
wins,
Watch
all
out for
knock.
that. Watch out for a spinning attack. That's really what's going to do it. The elbows against the cage. It really just depends if this dude's going to get spooked by Christian or not.
Yeah, I mean, look at it's all knockouts. The loss was a unanimous decision, so okay, both losses are unanimous decisions. I mean, so unfortunate that they weren't splits, of course, but it's still, I mean, both went to decision. He hasn't been finished,
Mhm.
and all of the last what fucking one, two,
I
three,
mean, I
last
mean,
five
actually, that's a really
victories,
good point. I mean, 8 knockouts out of his 10 wins.
and I guarantee you that submission is probably him knocking the dude down and going for the rear naked thereafter. You know what I mean? Like,
It's actually crazy. You look at March 18th, he knocked somebody out. It's probably like an early stoppage or something because then he came back and got a decision against him.
right. Yeah, I would think that's what that was. Yeah, gets a knockout in Cage Warriors, has to refight the guy because it was probably an early stoppage, and then wins again. So that's a
Yeah.
good look, you know.
Yeah, true, true. I mean, losing to Armin, I mean, it's a decision. I mean, can we see the numbers? Let me see. Was there a 30-27 somehow there? Where are we going here? It was unanimous, so probably not. But like, I gotta.
There was one 30-27 in there, but that's you.
Oh my
That could be
god.
the spurious 30-27. Plus, is this one that we? Oh no, this was just
The
before we started
original,
the
wow,
show.
the original Vittori. Oh wait,
Yeah,
no, this is Cannoneer and Vittori. Sorry, I was thinking.
one of the most monumental ass whoopings of all time. If you ever,
Nice.
I'm telling you, dude, like if you ever want to see a human punching bag in a fight, watch that fight because Vittori took so much damage in that fight. That's the fight that should definitely have told you that Vittori was not getting knocked out like in
True.
his last fight. Yeah, so I mean 29-28 probably should have been across the board, that one goofy ass judge who goes the other way on a round that shouldn't have been. Take that for what it is. I don't know. I mean, like these are all things that don't really matter all that much to me.
Mhm.
I think that he just needs to make sure he doesn't get clinched up. What else do you really go off of with that, right?
I mean, not even that he doesn't get clinched up. I think he'll do great at the clinch. I think that's like honestly where he shines a lot. But RoboCop was just able to do it better.
Yeah, because RoboCop is beastly, as we said. So yeah,
True.
I mean, some dude coming in off the Contender Series, I think that Duncan should be able to get this done.
You can't tell me right here, looking at this little image right here of Puliev.
Yeah,
He looks like Saeed, or I'm trying to think of someone else. Someone else. I mean, obviously a Russian guy, but
Russian
they
dude, that
yeah,
build. I was
yeah,
gonna say it.
literally, he just looks just like him. I think that's what I'm. Anyway,
Are there any Russian dudes that just shave the beard? Like any of them? Like I mean, like I want to see a clean shaven Russian dude coming in here
true,
doing the damn thing.
true. Me too.
Buck the trend. Because I mean, look. So I mean, not
Shamil came in with the mustache, and it was a trend in the Discord for like 2 solid days. And just remember that, everybody
right.
who's looking into marketing classes.
There you go. Hey, Shamil, the trendsetter over here. Shamil, in a roundabout way, doing a great job of managing his reputation in the
Yeah.
sport.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and as I understand it, at least in Islam, for the Islamic fighters from the region, you don't have to have the beard. Like you can do. Like that's the whole reason that they shave the mustache, but often keep the beard is because like you're not supposed to have the facial hair, I think, touching your lips. So but that doesn't mean that you have to keep the beard as well, as far as I understand it. From I've a person who practices Islam told me anyway.
Mhm.
So I mean that maybe there are different versions of it, different sects that view it differently. But my point is that if you want to be clean shaven, guys, try it out sometime.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's coming from a guy who should probably take that advice.
True that. And I have face paint on with stupid hair, with stupid facial hair growing. So
Yeah,
take
really.
take that as you will.
Maybe it can go cut for both of us. But anyway, I guess we can move on from this one, right? Christian
Yeah,
Leroy
I mean,
Duncan?
yeah, I would love to see a knockout from Christian, but I mean, if you look at his last unanimous loss, he came back and knocked out Dennis Tululin, which was a short notice bout. I think this Andre Puliev dude is also a short notice. Hey, Vardhen, what's up, dude? Edwards by kill. Dog. He has staff.
I
Liar.
mean, well, 6 weeks ago though. That's the it could be
Dude,
completely
dude,
cleared by now.
dude. Oh my God. It's completely cleared by now because he's not going to come in and be like, dude, I'm fucking tired every day, man. Like, I'm
It's
fucked,
true.
guys. Like,
That
I am going to get fucked up by Sean Brady.
that picture
He's
was
got,
taken like fucking 3 days ago.
yeah. Like, they actually showed a couple weeks ago and he had it wrapped up or whatever. And then they showed him at the fucking press and he's got the fucking, it's like, dude, that don't look like 6 weeks, brother.
And staff is fucking serious. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
this is another element of it. Like, you got to keep that in mind. Like, staff is not some like baby thing to take care of. You know what I mean? Like, this is like a legitimate problem for people. Huge
Christian
problem in
Leroy
hospitals.
Duncan does train with Leon, by the way. So,
You're thinking that maybe it got around?
I mean, that is how it goes, ain't it? I mean,
It's wild speculation. Wild
oh,
speculation.
that's what they say.
Yeah. But yeah, all things equal, yeah, I'd like to see a finish from Duncan as well. I mean, this is talk about what should be the most optimal circumstances for a finish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like a dude coming off the Contender Series, new to the organization, like unless he is a world ender in the making that we don't know about yet, this should be the time that you get the job done.
Thank you, Clown Show. Dude, staff's dude,
Indeed.
I don't know what it feels like, but I can tell you it looks terrible. So it
Well,
must feel even 10 times worse.
yeah, it's one of those things that not only is it bad and like really drains your system, but you have to catch it and treat it early because it can linger, and that's why you see it for such a long time. If he's already claiming that 6 weeks ago he had it, but he's still covering up and stuff, that's because that shit sticks. Like it's not like a cold, you know what I mean? Doesn't come and go. So
True.
yeah, staff is a real deal problem over here, people. Yeah.
Come
Anyway.
on, Leon. Yeah, that dude. That's all-time great quote. Can't believe we never had, dude. Why have we never had something as monumental as that? Like that is like one of one right there. I can't tell you another moment like the Leon coach moment.
I mean, well, when are you talking specifically from Leon? Because he just doesn't
I
have many
mean,
quotables. Period. Him throwing the water bottle at Kobe is about the
no,
most he's ever done.
No, the coach from
No, I know who you're talking about. But I'm saying within like because we've had many monumental instances.
I don't know. I mean, but ones that like lead up to something as crazy as that, like that's like a speech that led up to the fucking end of this. I don't know.
True.
Like that's like a crazy movie moment right there.
I'd say that one that could rival that probably a little ways before your time, but was Edwin Tarverdian shouting head movement at Ronda Rousey right before she got knocked out by Holly Holm.
Oh, nice.
That's a good one.
Nice. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we'd like to see a finish out of Leroy Duncan, but we'll see what ends up happening there, right?
Hey, shout out Elite because you asked the $1 million question here. You know when they're coming on? Well, I can tell you when one of them's coming on, and that's never.
Yeah, for real. Both of them are in the doghouse as far as last week's fights.
No, Tosh is good. Tosh is good because we're waiting on him. He's going to be fine.
Okay, fair. Yeah, good point. Yeah, Tosh was always supposed to be a little bit later.
True.
All right, so at least one of them. But shout out to Elite for being the one dude from England in that region of the world who is here, even though he's didn't have to be. So Elite, shout out to you, brother.
Weirdly look like the Joker. Do I not look like England?
You tell us, chat. I think that the nose, like you got to try to get the part down here a little bit more. Yeah, where like right under your nose, so that the line is a little bit more defined.
You know what? I got you. We're gonna make sure I get this down because next,
it's very important, people.
I will be doing this very often now. This will be a very common thing.
Please not on our show. Like not on the actual.
No. I got you. No, I got you. If we do get Friday shows, I got you. All right, next.
All right, Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. We talked a little bit about this one. Marcin Tybura coming in here and showing that there are levels to this game. How do you deny him, even if it is Mick Parkin?
I truly just believe Tybura is one of those dudes that he can pull it off randomly against. I just fucked it up. He can pull it off randomly. He can pull it off randomly against the dudes that you'll never expect him to do it. But in this case, I think he's going to go right back down the totem pole, and Mick Parkin hopefully is going to be on his way up, the heavyweight rankings a little more and get a knockout here.
Well, I would counter this by saying 2025 has been the year where the O has to go. We have been seeing this left and right recently, undefeated fighters losing their undefeated status. So could Mick Parkin be the next victim of this? I think that Marcin Tybura has proven that he will be able to overcome a prospect pretty well if his last performance is to be believed, right?
Yeah, but we can't just be like, oh, but his last performance, like he knocked a dude off he knocked a prospect off. It's like, well, now he's going to do it again. It's like, I don't know. That's just.
I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate with that one a little bit because I think that if you recall, Janice was making a huge jump up. He was going to be fighting Derek Lewis originally, right?
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Yeah, like Derek Lewis pulled out on short notice. We never got a reasoning for that, actually. That's a good point.
He was gonna kill Denise.
I mean, maybe not. If he pulled out of the fight, why didn't you just go in there and do it?
Oh, they pulled him. The promotion pulled him. I still believe that firmly. The promotion pulled him
because then he ended up fighting somewhere else, or has he fought?
He has not fought.
So then I don't know. Maybe we never unraveled the Derek Lewis conspiracy theory over here. Now that we're talking about it on this show, I mean, where did he go? Why did he pull out of that fight, and why has he not been back?
True.
These are the questions.
Fought twice. About to fight twice since then.
Right. So I mean, and to take it out of that world, Janice, who Tybura overpowered and showed that there are levels to this game, was still making a very large jump up. For that, like he was an unranked fighter, I believe, at that point, was going to be, I think, 8th at the time or something along those lines.
But you got to understand, this is heavyweights, so
yeah, crazy things can happen.
Being an unranked guy doesn't mean that there's potentially 12 guys in the same boat as you, kind of deal. Like there's only really like 5 that are like heavyweight prospects, kind of deal.
Yeah. No, I think you're making a good point with that. Parkin has done the job every time, right? I mean, he's like,
dude, he trains BJJ with Tom Aspinall. Calm yourself. He's gonna get it done. He's got a sub in his most recent 5 fights. He's got this. This.
All right. I mean, that was on the Contender Series, but
yeah, true.
Bunch of decisions and the knockout of Lucas Tresky. I'm with it. Why not? Mick Parkin by KO. I think I can fuck with that.
I think this will be one of those ones.
Decision.
No. Hear me out. I think this will be one of the ones where you're like, oh, KO or decision is like one of the safest things you can do right here. But then Mick Parkin will pull off a fucking armbar just like Spivak. Like something stupid.
All right, you're going for the roundabout long shot.
I would say just do money line on this. Like I wouldn't do a long shot type of deal on Mick Parkin because like he may just walk in there and drop some bombs. But like, would I be surprised if somebody got one of the options that I'd never expected? I mean, it happens every week,
Yeah, and honestly, I'm still not sold that Marcin Tybura can't go out there and get this, make it to the ground, make it dirty.
Maybe just take this one by finish. Like no victor, just inside the distance. Just
that might be a decent call there. Because I think that likelihood is that if one of the guys gets their way, I think that's really what it's going to come down to, right? Like if we end up in a situation where they're going to be like hugging on the cage a whole bunch, maybe it ends up going the distance. But I think what we have seen from both these guys at least is that, maybe at least more so from Tybura. Now Parkin did get the KO in his last fight, so perhaps that sways it a little bit. But he has a lot of decisions on the record. But if Tybura can get it down, we saw that he can be pretty nasty on the ground, and he's really good with elbows on the ground too. So, I mean, Parkin needs to be able to watch his face, which who knows at what stage the fight's going to be. These heavyweights, if it's later in the fight, he might not have the energy to defend correctly. So I don't know. This is a lot of variables in this one to me. I would probably say that going for Tybura money line is what I'm personally going to be doing.
I can see it. I'm not against it. The Polish power is there. Mick Parkin is one of those guys where his striking, he has to be in his zone. He has got to be in perfect rhythm. Nobody can interrupt him. And then he can drop a combination. Like Tybura, he might just fucking shoot. Like, I don't know. He is Yeah, true this, true this. And the people that he's beat compared to the people that he's lost to. Is
Yeah.
is Mick Parkin of Spivak, quote Tom Aspinall, or of that caliber kind of deal? Maybe not, but is he something short of a Spivak? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is what makes this a very multifaceted one. And as you can see, the line is very close as well. I mean, a plus 105 for Tybura and a minus 125 for Parkin. This pretty tight margin there. So yeah, I I could see Parkin winning this fight perhaps, but I want to believe that the experience of Tybura can come through, perhaps as well. And also, I'm going with the meta as of right now, as far as the prospects losing their O's this year, because
Mhm.
we've seen it a whole hell of a lot. We've seen it from fighters that people have been a lot more confident about than McParkin. I think that it's potentially going to happen here too.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't dislike the idea for it. I mean, Tiberius slowly coming down. It's going to be even odds by the time it comes to the fight time.
Yeah, I would agree as well. That's going to definitely tighten up. All right, moving on to Lanier Kavanaugh versus Felipe Dos Santos. Felipe Dos Santos, a dude who has let me down a little bit because I thought in his loss to Manel Kopp, he looked really good. I was like, Manel Kopp is a dude who's surging. So I thought a loss to him ages well. And also that he would do just fine going forward if he shored a couple of things up because he's young. I want to say he's like maybe 20. Yeah, he's 20, 25, 24.
Mhm.
So he's turning 25 this year.
Now
So
shoot the box.
yeah, and he's a Shudo box guy. Exactly. So, I thought that he was doing pretty decent. And now, I mean, I guess after what we talked about when it comes to Andre Lima, perhaps maybe he still is. And he lost to two really good guys. So,
Yeah.
maybe that's the case here. Lanier Kavanaugh did not super impress me in his last fight, even though he won it. No, dude, and this coming from a fan. Like one of his students is in the
Actually,
chat often.
opponent was really good. His opponent was really good. That Ocha dude
Yeah,
was,
Ochoa.
yeah, that dude was actually really solid, and he was a lot taller than Lonier. I know it was short notice for him, but honestly, there was a lot of people who thought he was going to beat Lonier, so that was a good performance for him to skate by on kind of debut
It
shit.
wasn't bad. It was not bad. It just wasn't the world ender highlight reel fucking death's door knockout that he got on the Contender Series, because that really was what that was, if you
I
recall.
mean, to be fair, I mean he's only had 4 knockouts in his career. Like I get he's only had 8 fights total. He's won them all, but like he's not 8 for 8. He's not coming in here with 100% finish rate. So I mean, he got
But
one scary knockout.
right.
Give
And
him
so, but my point though is that Felipe Dos Santos has faced fucking up and coming killers, one of which is possibly going to be fighting for the title soon, and another one who is knocking on the door of the rankings easily now with the win that he just got. So, I
I,
mean, experience for experience.
I just think the last dude that Lonier fought is 10 times better than Felipe. At least the ceiling that he has is going to be higher than Felipe. Felipe is never going to get anywhere in the division. Lonier
Wow. Okay.
probably going to beat him. And it's one of those prospect things where it's like they feed the prospect who's had a little bit of time and then they feed him against the guy who's had one fight already. It'll be interesting. Josh Van was the culprit to do that against Ray Sarua, but I think Felipe is not on the level of somebody like Josh Van, of course. So is he going to be able to derail somebody with just as much? I'm trying to think, with just as much fuel to get as far in the game as they are, like, and they don't have a disadvantage of age or coming off an injury or anything like that. It's a pretty even playing field here.
All right. I mean, I'm with that assessment. I don't know if I necessarily agree 100% that Felipe is not going to like continue on down the line. I mean, I thought that he looked pretty decent against Cop at least, and then he got a win over Victor Altamirano. Not really moving the needle necessarily, but it was a win.
Lost to Andre Lima.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Lost to Andre Lima, who we just saw had a great fight in his last fight and has looked very much like he's going to become something better going forward. Although in that fight, that was one of the fights that gave me the impression that Lima was a little bit not flat-footed, but inactive in his fights. Like I wasn't thinking that he was like had much of a killer instinct. I thought he came out a lot more like a killer against Bareth. So I mean, I'll tentatively go with Lanier Kavanaugh, but this would be a fight that I would not put money down on personally.
It's hard for Lanier going forward just because of his size and stature, but I think that'll just be what makes him good. Like he might just be the pocket rocket that can pull stuff off. I'm not going to say he's going to finish a lot of people, but he might be able to pull a lot of different things out of his bag. And when you're somebody who's, you don't have all the cards dealt in life, you're not a 6-foot flyweight like Jose Johnson, you got to make things happen. You got to get gritty. And Lanier Kavanaugh, he's shown that he's gritty. So I'm down for it.
If he wins this fight, how do you think he progresses through the division based on his size?
I mean, Josh Van is the same size.
Yeah, but he ain't Josh Van, though.
But he ain't Josh Van. But I would say he uses a lot more of his well-rounded skills than Josh Van has amazing boxing. That and obviously amazing takedown defense and getting up off the, a lot of different things. But like to start off his boxing, that's what he bases his game off of. He's great at that. Lanier is a more all-around presence. And I think he does that well for himself.
Yeah, he's well-rounded for sure. You can, I mean, he's an instructor as well, so you can definitely tell that like the fundamentals are something he has a great grasp on very early. Like he's technically sound, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. This guy, as an 8-0 prospect, do I think he's like the greatest fucking guy out there? Probably not. But like I think he's well deserving of 8-0. And 9-0 doesn't sound too crazy. I mean, this isn't an opponent that's like, oh, he's definitely going to take his O, like, kind of deal.
Yeah. I would agree with that aspect of it. I think that Felipe could end up getting better, but we'll see how he comes out in this fight specifically. And this has to be like the beginning of that if he's going to. If he loses this fight, I would be like 100% in the camp that how you're thinking about it.
I hear you.
But I'll stick with Lonnie Kavanaugh. Like I said, shout out to Am, who's a viewer occasionally. He'll probably be in the chat for the watch along. All right, moving along here. Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla. Let's go back to Chris Padilla's fight with Rangju. Yeah, because I want to recall.
He was losing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Was he actually, or do you just have that as your memory?
No, he was losing because it was like one of those moments where it's like, man, he's lucky as hell he got that fucking elbow and ended that fight because he was gonna lose. He was getting walked down the entire time. And it was like one of those, he stepped back and just threw an elbow and it literally grazed his eyeball and just popped it kind of deal. It was kind of a once in a lifetime kind of shot. I was even at the time like wondering like, man, why don't people aim for the fucking eyes more with their shots like that? Like he cooked him. Like, I don't know.
True. And then the fight before that was against Thomas Yontop. And what my feelings are about that guy.
What?
Yeah. Got a subbed him.
Jaime. Oh, I guess. Okay. Never mind. I don't know why I figured. I mean, he did miss weight by 20 pounds. I guess that's why I was like lightweight, but I guess that's what he fought, or was scheduled to fight Hoofy at.
It's true. Amon PR. Hello. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, for sure. Do I look like England? Let me know.
Yeah. Let us know what you think of Chase's face paint in the chat. So I mean, a win over Rangju, even as a fluke, is definitely awesome. Jai Herbert is a much more experienced guy and has lost to much greater competition here now. Obviously losing to Ilya. That is what it's going to be. But a loss
draw to Ludovic is pretty good.
The what now?
A draw to Ludovic Klein.
Oh yes, a draw with Ludovic Klein. Yeah, that's true. Ludovic Klein has been on the upswing. I think that Jai Herbert should probably take this. Jai Herbert is one of those guys it's just an odd case to me because he's been around for a while. He's been like good for a while, but then like at times just doesn't pull it off when you think that he should like he doesn't pull it off when he's in a fight that's going to get him over the hump, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, this dude is really something kind of territory.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. I mean, he's one of those dudes that I didn't watch the come up of. So the most recent performance that I've seen of him, I mean, he didn't do too bad. Unanimous decision. I was definitely okay with it. It was on a horrible card too. Now that I see that Sandhagen and Nurmagomedov, but I mean, Chris Padilla, It just doesn't seem to me that he's going to win a fight after the last performance. That's just the way that I see it.
I'm going to go back. Look, now that we're doing this version of the show here with the predictions and stuff, I will tell everybody who's listening now, find the card. We'll show you the card here. This is for Chris Padilla. If you go back to, it was an Apex card. I remember that. It is okay. So it is Fight Night Burns versus Brady. We were already doing this show at the time. Go back and listen to the assessment that we had of that fight from that episode and see if that colors your opinion, because that's what I'm going to do before I place my bets. And I want to hear what
Why
I
don't we
said
do
about
it
Chris
right now
Padilla.
together?
I mean, we could. I guess I could pull it up. Hold on. See if I can.
It's got the pictures of the fights on the screen. We can listen to it real quick, see what has to be said.
I mean, because I have to go through and find it in the episode.
True, you're right. Yeah, that would take a while. We'd
that's a
probably
tough
do
deal.
talk a while. Either way, if you're out there listening and you want to get some good sauce, we probably put you on about a year ago when I told you that Chris Padilla was losing this fight and then got a lucky ass elbow. That's probably exactly what I said. And if I didn't,
because I want to like in my mind, I'm my memory is not the greatest, but I'm seeming to remember that I thought that Padilla was doing a little bit better than what you're describing it as. So
True.
Go back and listen to that for the assessment of Padilla specifically. But as far either way, even regardless of that fight, to be perfectly honest, I'm thinking that Jai Herbert is the skill for skill better of the two of them. Everybody talks about the Jai Herbert kick that wobbled Ilya. We all have to remember it, right? Come on, guys. This was the kick that defined this man's career as far as the Discord is concerned. So, yeah, I think that Jai Herbert should be able to take this fight. But another close line. There's been a couple of really divided lines and then some very close ones on this card. So
I like the close lines because that's where you really got to pull out the ball. You got to pull the knowledge out.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking that conventional wisdom at least is saying that Jai Herbert should be able to take this fight.
Hell yeah.
All right, we're moving on to main card now here. Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. Talked about this one on the show. Of course, talked about it on Fight Show as well. I think that Morgan Charrier is the new wave of French fighters now that the sport is legal and these guys are training at higher levels and competing at higher levels regularly. I think that his record is not indicative of his quality as a fighter. I think he's a lot better and has made a lot of improvements. So 20-10 to me does not speak to where he's at currently. And on the other side, Wood is a great dude and a great ambassador for the sport and a nice guy and a good family man and all that stuff. But I say that he is good, and that's about as far as I'll go. So
this one again, yeah, same things that I could say about Nathaniel Wood. I just don't. I mean, when it comes to his performances inside the cage, I can't tell you that I'm over here an overzealous fan of Nathaniel Wood and waiting for him to get back in the cage so he could put on a performance for me. No, it's nothing like that. But I'm not the biggest fan of Morgan Charrier. I do like the pirate theme. I do the last pirate, whatever he wants to go with. I'm down for it. That may be swaying me a little bit here, but I think I still am going to go with Nathaniel Wood. I might be just France. I don't know. I think that might be a bias that I have.
And, I completely understand that because I too have that bias or have had it in the past. But what we are seeing now more and more is that France is becoming the I want to say use case, but it's becoming the prime example, I guess is the better way to put it, of a country that has gone from not being as represented in the sport and not being as on par with the rest of the elite skill level that you see at the higher levels of the sport to finally starting to graduate a couple of fighters who are disproving that mentality. We've seen it with Fares Zayam, and we're seeing it with I think
Surreal Gone. He just got a win, didn't he?
Oh, he got a robbery win.
He got handed to him.
Yeah, he got a gift from the gods win. That man. Shout out to Volkov, bro. Glad that he's been getting, or that he got to come back after that.
Well, no, not yet.
Oh, they haven't made it right yet. Dana said that they're going to make it right. Yeah, okay. But anyway.
Yeah. Shout out France.
Yeah, shout out France for coming up again, being on the come up. You know what I mean? They're starting to become a little bit more represented, and we're seeing fighters who are really doing good things. And Fares Ziam certainly proved that with his last 2 fights. Now, I think Charrier is going to get it done.
I mean, Charrier, listen, I can tell you that he is a guy that commands the spotlight. Like, he is a dude that you'll pay attention to when he fights. He is in that Netflix show called Cage or something like that. That is, set in France. And I did not watch it because it is in French, and that is very hard, guys. And the dubs are horrible. But Charrier, on the other hand, hey, he's a movie star. What can you say? He's coming out here. He's going to put on performance. And if it's against Nathaniel Wood, hopefully it's not a decision like Nathaniel Wood loves. But Charrier, he might surprise. And I don't know if it's going to be surprising if he actually does it, because he's a decent talent. I'm just obviously biased against France.
Yeah, we have a very important question in the chat.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm a dude. Am I not England? Tell me. I look just like the flag.
Spitting image. You cover the top part of his face, and it looks like a flag waving right there.
This ain't even the flag. Hold on. I don't even know where it's at.
Do you have an actual regular England, or do you just have the Union
Jack?
Jack?
I have it. I have it somewhere.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's somewhere in the mix.
I
have it on my face. That's where it's at.
Good point. Yeah, exactly. You've got it staring right at you through the camera, right?
Literally,
there,
you're like a clown, dude. I'm looking at one now. Like,
golly. Bite your tongue, North.
Jesus. Anyway.
All right. Well, so yeah, I mean, are you gonna go with Wood? That's your final offer there?
I'm gonna go with Wood.
All right, I'm sticking with Charrier. Well, I guess time has come. If
no, it's not come. Time has not come for anything other than the regular show between me and Thinker St. James. Everybody, just give yourself a round of applause if you've been here, because other people don't know how to fucking make it.
And this is a stain on your record that is one that cannot wash off. I'm sorry to say.
And I would know about washing things off, because I'm going to be doing a lot of it after this. So if you come in this chat, don't you ever have anything to say about coming on and spreading no words, because this was your card. I did this for you.
It's true. Yeah, we did this for you. We do a Monday show. We didn't need to come on for this, even though we love hanging out with you guys, of course. But we already went over these fights. We've told you what our basic thought processes are with these fights. Like, you're getting a little bonus out of it because these dudes decided that they wanted to play. But whatever. Any which way, we can still talk about it, because it is Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan from Scotland. Jordan Vucenic from England, the dude with more ink on his body than skin at this point. What are you thinking, Chase?
God, yeah. Looking at the picture, I kind of forget just how much of his body is covered in tattoos. Like, every time I see him, I'm like, wow, he really is just a suit of armor.
It's a ridiculous amount. Let me see if I can pull up like a better picture.
Actually, yeah, I'll get you the Getty image one so you can see.
Sure.
His like UFC profile thing.
Oh yeah, and speaking of his tattoos, do you have any opinion about the Bruce Buffer tattoo?
Actually, I don't think they have his picture on Getty image. That's weird. Anyway, the picture his Bruce Buffer tattoo is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it. I thought it was a really good piece. Like, I thought that the artwork was really nice.
I'm a big fan of tattoos that have stories. Like, if you're gonna get a tattoo, it better be something good. It better not just be, I went on vacation to Gatlinburg and I had to get a tattoo. And personal experience, but these are people that I know, and that's like they'll go on. That's what they get tattoos for. Yeah, look at that. If there's a story behind it, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people with a samurai fucking face on their body, and I can't explain to you how that has a story relevant to any of them. But if Yuri went ahead and got a samurai face on him, I'd be like, that makes sense. That adds up. But
yeah, and I thought that his justification for the Bruce Buffer tattoo was pretty spot on there. As far as the story goes, like, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I mean, when it comes to the blackouts and all this other Indian ink that he's got going on over here, I mean, the only person I can think of off the top of my head with more blacked out parts of their body is probably Machine Gun Kelly. at this point, and he's like complete torso blacked out at this point.
Mhm.
This dude is knocking on the door of it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, aside from his tattoos, which are the starring attraction, his fighting is not bad. So
I
what are you
mean, his
thinking?
voice doesn't have aura, I tell you that. Listening to him talk about his tattoo, I was like, "Man, this is lost a couple points here, buddy. I thought you were coming in here with, a little bit of aura."
Do you think
But
that's why he went for all the tattoos, is to make up for the weak voice?
dude, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. There's something going on here. No, but I do think Jordan, aside from what I don't have we seen this? I feel like we do this every time. I've seen this two fight, but I couldn't tell you. It was on Sanhagen and Nurmagomedov. I think that's probably why.
Wait,
Stupid fuck.
what are we talking about?
Vucenic and Kuta Zalabe,
Oh,
whatever.
Kutsutalata. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we were already doing the show by then. Yeah.
Yeah. So we might have to go rewatch and see what we said about Jordan because we might have been impressed. But if
Well,
I'm
that's what I had
going
said.
off,
I remember that being that I was like, yeah, I think he just needs to improve a couple of things because it was a close fight. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
no, you're fine. I mean, if that's the case, whatever. But from what I'm hearing from a inside information standpoint is that Chris Duncan is a problem, right? And if that's the case, he better come out here and cause some problems for people in their parlays that are taking Jordan right here. He better come out here and finish. I think I'm going to go all in on the KO. I think I'm going to go for it.
For
I
Duncan?
really for Duncan. Fuck it, dude. Come out
Wow.
here, bomb him on the feet. People are saying he's not going to get a sub. It might be a grappling match, but if it goes to decision, I'll be sick. But I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But I think this one is one of the more interesting ones because the Discord has built a lot of hype around it. We're all pretty excited to see Chris Duncan. I'm not
And
gonna
that
lie.
is exactly why I have muted the Bet Slips channel on the Discord, and I pay no mind because I'm going off of what I saw in these previous fights. Now, I mean, if you're going strictly off of that, Chris Duncan did get that great submission over Balagioki that we talked
Mhm.
about, which was really
Unconscious.
not. I mean, yeah, I had him slept from the guillotine to the point where the referee didn't realize that he was out. That dude could have very well died.
Mhm.
Did not, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, it was very impressive. But Vucenic has shown more fight. Like, I mean, I've seen him in the fight, and I thought he looked pretty good in the fight that he had. And going up against Kutateladze, who we just picked to win, like you said, maybe that changes if Kutateladze. Maybe that's how you do it. If you're watching the card, wait until the first fight is over. See how Kutateladze looks in that fight, and then base your opinion off of that.
There you go. I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah,
Perfectly sound.
yeah. But so based on the recollections on both sides, I will still stick with Jordan Vucenic. And also the fact that Tosh is not here to sway me. So, oh,
True.
fucking well. You had your shot to bring me around.
Yeah, true. We might have to just go Jordan at this point. Jordan by finish.
There you
Sorry.
go. Yeah. Sorry, Chris Duncan.
I threw
Nothing
my shirt
personal.
away already.
All right. Moving on to Molly McCann versus Alexia Thainara. As we said, Alexia is 11-1. Molly McCann 14-7. I think that Thainara is going to really put a hurting on Molly in this fight and make England very upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thainara is gonna sub her. I think I've seen that floating around, and I really do like that because Thainara has 6 subs, and Molly
Oh
is
yeah,
god awful. So,
and a lot of
and
them are first round too. Yeah, a couple of
yeah,
them at least.
so I
Yep,
I,
round one,
I
round
kind of
one.
just gotta go with her. I'm not gonna lie, even though the experience from Molly is there, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't
Yeah,
mean anything.
when it comes to Molly McCann, no, unfortunately, it
And
doesn't.
Thainara's only loss was Bruno Brazil.
True. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bruna now is kind of showing that she's like maybe not like upper tier, but
At
as
the
far as
time in lower region stuff, she might have been the best there, you know?
and really what I think for Bruna Brazil is that she's probably going to end up being somewhat close to gatekeeper status, where it's like she's going to be one that's high middle. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like she can still get a win, but she's not going to consistently get wins across the board. So Molly is almost in that same category. Actually, I had a piece of a Yama episode that I remember putting out as a clip that was asking that exact question: is Molly McCann essentially a gatekeeper at this point, or going to be? I don't know if I would put her in that category just yet. If
She
she starts,
don't She
But
ain't protecting no fucking. She ain't keeping nobody out. She fucking sucks.
well, but that's the thing. It's like if she can. So the issue there is that if she continues to like have a candy cane record, then
Like, bro, look at that. Look at that name right there. I don't mean to interrupt you. That Jay Stolyarenko. Like,
Yulia Stolyarenko. Yeah,
get out of here. Like, you're losing to people that are just nobodies. Like,
that was the worst one that she had. That was the one that was
it's
the one where
all.
she rolled into the armbar.
Well, it's the worst that she had until she loses to Thayanara on her debut, kind of deal. You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, yeah, I'm just trying. What I was saying is about like the status of gatekeeper is like what the way that I use it is like to different levels. Like I'm not necessarily only talking about gatekeeper to the top of the food chain, like to the top 5 or to the belt or whatever. I'm talking about like at the low level, there are still gatekeepers to me. Molly McCann could be like the low level gatekeeper to the middle. You know, you know what I'm saying? Because like if she can't rack up wins, like if she's going to consistently be candy cane and going on and off, red light, green light with the wins and the losses, then there are going to be girls who win over her. It's still a name because she has fans in the country. So like it's still going to be like, oh, she beat Molly McCann. And then from there on, now they are in the new echelon where they have the next set of people that they have to contend with.
So we agree she's under the gatekeeper status. So does that make her the troll under the bridge with the riddles?
That's right. To get into the middle of the division, you must answer these questions 3.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that this is going to be a pretty easy fight for Thayanara. I want to believe. Like Molly, just it's just not there. She's a nice person. Like the fight show people were saying this over and over. Like she's a nice girl. She's got a good story in the sport and all that kind of stuff. She seems like a pretty decent human being on top of all of this. But as far as like the fight game goes, I don't see it being much more than what it is now.
Exactly. She'll probably throw about 4 spinning back fists in the first 2 rounds, miss all of them, get taken down and subbed.
There you go. There's your prediction.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the fight that has had even me entering the conversation on the Discord, because Chase, I got to call you out after the show. We had a whole conversation on the show. Then after the show, I'm looking in the Discord and I'm seeing that you're still talking reckless about my guy Gunnar Nelson over here, even though you have not seen him fight. What is this, Chase?
I think that is all that I'm basing it on. I mean, clearly that's all that I'm basing it off of. And it's not that it's a slight like, oh, well, I haven't seen him fight, so he's that bad. It's like when you don't fight, there is a level of inactivity that is taken on your game. Paulo Costa is a perfect example of a dude who is not active and only spends time hitting the bag and sparring pads. And then when he gets in the cage, he don't know how to hit an opponent because it's a moving target. You know, I don't think that's going to be necessarily the same problem as Gunnar because he's a grapple guy, but like,
no, on the other side of the coin, I wanted to flip the script on this. I think you're making the exact point as to why Gunnar is going to do good in this fight is because he takes his grappling so seriously that he only takes an MMA fight every once in a while. But I guarantee you, he's one of those dudes that's like competing in the fucking IBJJF, you know, or whatever.
Yeah,
IBB,
but those don't always translate that well, you know?
Well, I mean, it certainly has translated decently against a number of opponents. I mean, you can talk about the people that he's lost to, but I think a lot of the people that he's lost to are people that were at the top of their game at the time, or at least closer to it.
I mean, let's be honest,
decision
though.
With Leon.
Who did he beat, though?
Leon? Or who did he beat? Rather, sorry, he lost to Gilbert Burns.
Right, I'm looking. No, I'm looking at the names that he lost to. Yeah, I'm looking at the names that he beat as well.
Right, beat Alan Joban. He was pretty decent back in the day.
Okay, pretty decent back in the day in 20. Okay,
win over Cowboy Oliveira.
I mean, okay, 2018. I mean, that dude was never amazing from what I understand. He fought Kevin Holland in the first fight that I saw like live, I'm pretty sure, and lost.
Yeah. So. I mean, he was a dude who had been around for quite a while as well. Like he was one of those guys that had a lot of fights. So, but you know, towards the end, maybe not as great.
I would say he's always had, you know, layoff. You know, he's never been super active, but he's never beat anybody of the caliber of at least Kevin Holland. Like the person that he's gotten, you know, he's gotten close to, Leon and Gilbert Burns. Like he didn't beat him. but he's never actually beat anybody that's on the level of a Kevin Holland. Like this Alan Jouban dude you're talking about, he's pretty good. It's like, all right, well, Kevin Holland is pretty good if you want to, make a case. Like he's decently ranked in the sport as of right
Split
now.
decision with the former champion of the world.
Yeah, and that is pretty impressive. But as of right now, I'm not looking too high on Leon. So
Fair. All right. Well, going to the other side of the equation, then Kevin Holland is, I mean, we
1-4.
yeah, I mean, it's like 1-4, and I mean, a pair of losses, only a couple fights before that.
I mean, I guess I can ask the same question of who was Kevin Holland actually beat. So I guess that's fair on both ends because he's not necessarily beating anybody that's decently better than him. He's always beating the guy that's just below his rank. So I think that's why I think I should take Kevin against whatchamacallit. And Kevin, look at the thing. Every time Kevin has never lost 3 in a row.
There you go. Go off of that. I was going to say what you really should be going off of is this right here. A win over Tim Means, brother. Shut the conversation down right there.
True.
Obviously, Kevin Holland's winning now.
The Dirty Bird was good at one time.
Yeah, I know. I'm being a little rude there, but yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I think that Gunnar Nelson is better than people are giving him credit for, and I think a lot of the people who are talking recklessly about him are younger fans who have not been around the sport as long. I think that his ground game is going to be there for him. I think if he's able to take Kevin Holland down, which we saw Rainier de Ritter do pretty effectively. I mean, Rainier de Ritter walked through Kevin Holland.
That's a champ level guy, though.
I mean, he was a champ in one. Now, I mean,
and he's he's dedicated to get the belt in the UFC. Like whether that means that he's actually going to get it, like he's at least setting the goal and he's trying to reach for that. Kevin Holland, we know, is just I'm here to eat cheeseburgers and get paid. So,
yeah, I mean, shouldn't that be the thing that sways you the other way? Now, my only thing with that is that Kevin Holland might actually take this fight seriously because he has to. And that could be a little bit more of a problem for Gunnar Nelson. But I think that that's more on the feet. I mean, like if Gunnar can get him down at any point, I think that this fight becomes a lot closer than what you're making it out to be.
I think, I don't know. I think the odds would be further away if there was a conclusive winner in this. And I think there's just too many variables to base much off of until we actually see the fight.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'm still sticking with my Gunners over here.
I hear that. I would love an Iceland flag.
Yeah, there you go. And I think we got to hold you to it. If he wins this fight, I better see one.
I'll do it.
All right. Jan Blachowicz.
I'll do a lot for this channel, guys.
Apparently. I think it came out pretty good. I'm just putting it out there. I think it looks
I don't hate it. I mean, I have to love it now, but I don't hate it.
For sure. Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. Pretty much exactly in the same camp as I was last time that we talked about it on Fight Show the same way. I said on Fight Show that I think it is almost a little bit crazy that Jan's even coming back. Do you think that that's out of line?
I don't think so. I mean, he had to come back at some point. It's not like he's just going to ride off on a split decision loss to Alex or whatever it was. But there is one key thing that I want you to think about because somebody pointed this out and I want to get the actual number. So Volkan Oezdemir landed, hold on, 28 of 28 leg kicks on Carlos Ulberg. Jan Blachowicz is really fucking good at leg kicks.
This is a good point. But I don't remember those leg kicks being super effective against him, or giving him much of a problem.
Well, because I don't think Volkan is as much of a savage as Jan. That dude goes shin to shin a lot. So
true. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Jan is 42 years old. How do you factor that into the equation?
I factor it a lot. I mean, considering that we've seen it done before, this isn't like a Hail Mary type of thing. Like, we know older guys can somehow pull it off more often than we would believe. DC, Glover, anybody else you want to throw in that fucking, Randy Couture, you can even go back. But, like, I think Jan might just be that dude to upset a lot of people's parlay. The Polish parlay, now that I'm thinking about it, might be a really good move.
All right. I mean, I think that it's Olberg's time, though, bro. That's where my head is at with it.
Yeah, but like, who? I'm trying to think of the way to word this. Everybody has their time, but not everybody just runs through everybody in the division. Like Tom is kind of a special fucking case for the heavyweights. But like Carlos, like he's gonna get that one random L to Jan, and then Jan's gonna retire, and then people are gonna be like, "Well, he lost to Jan, but it doesn't really count because he retired after he never got." Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and I mean, really I mean, he does have a lot of finishes, but looking at the level of competition, I mean,
He's been in the UFC for so fucking long.
true.
Holy shit!
Yeah, he's been around for a while. Been in here for 4 years.
Knocked at Ehor, not a big accomplishment there. Everybody does that. Lost to Kennedy though, and that was before Kennedy went to heavyweight, and we've noticed that he's in his new form. So
Yeah, that's true. He has been looking great at heavyweight, but yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that this is one of those because it's like I'm always torn when it comes to this type of situation where it's like a dude who's been surging for quite some time going up against a guy who we know has been good but has been now laid off for a while. This is a very unique set of circumstances that we've seen in fights before, and that it creates a dynamic that's hard for me to factor all of those things in and come to a solid conclusion on. But my gut is telling me that Olberg's going to be able to take this. I feel like Jan has been out of the game for a while, not only just because of the layoff, but also just in some of these fights. I mean, like, I'll tell you one thing that sways me a little bit about Jan Blachowicz. There's one fight, I think it was when he lost the belt. Yeah, when he lost to Glover. He said something like, yeah, I guess the Polish power just wasn't here tonight. And like, for some reason that always stuck out in my mind as like, well, if the Polish power wasn't there tonight, what other nights are the Polish power not going to show up on? You know what I mean? And now that could just be one of those things that's wording and, I'm just making way too much out of it than it actually is, but it's something that's in my brain. So,
yeah, I get it. It is going to be interesting to see, but I would really love to see Jan make a case at this age. Like I would love to see somebody that I actually really like fighting, but they're at the end of their fucking career. Like I would like to see them hold on just a little longer so I could see it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I've always liked Jan Blachowicz. I mean, like I say all of this stuff as a fan. I was happy when he won the belt. I would have liked to have seen him keep the belt for a while. That would have been kind of cool if he could have kept the run going. Because really, as far as Poland goes, we've Joanna Jędrzejczyk is kind of the most dominant Polish champion that it kind of springs to mind. So,
and to be fair, she's fucking good. They should be fucking proud. Like that's a good ass fucking champ. Like,
oh yeah, she was, bro, like she was in a roundabout way, like she was one of the fighters that like kind of reinvigorated my interest in the sport early on when it had sort of waned a little bit. Like I've always been a fan, but it's like when I didn't have access to it as much and wasn't paying as close attention to it. Like back in the day, of course, like we had to like TiVo shit, you know what I mean? We didn't have like the on demand and the outlets
ESPN
weren't
Plus.
exactly. Yeah, you had to actually like set times to watch stuff. And at my old job, I couldn't always do that, so like it was a lot harder for me to be a fan of the sport. But like watching her run as the champ, like she was running through chicks, dude. Like she was a dominant champion, and it was like I was like, man, I enjoy watching her fight. Like good friend of mine, also like he was a big fan of women's MMA. Just a guy who enjoys the ladies, so he was like,
I like him. We need him on the show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, he's the man. But yeah, so like he was like, oh, there's because it was a card that I think she was defending the belt on, and she was main eventing, and he was like, oh, I want to watch that. So like we ended up going and watching that, and I was like, man,
And then she got finished by Rose. Yeah, it was a brutal time,
huh? Yeah, that might have. I don't think it was that one, but that was an unfortunate set of circumstances.
Yeah, I didn't mean to bring it down. Sorry, that was a bad jab there. But no, I think
hurt my friend more than me.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Poland. For a small representation in the UFC, like they got some. Listen, Jan and Joanna, like that's good enough. We can forget about Tibero. He can fall off the list. Those two right there are good enough.
For sure. Yeah, and I'm sure that there will be more. Who's what's his name? I wanted to say Ludovic, but he's from like Switzerland or something like that. I
I
don't know.
should know. Either way.
Either way, yeah, I think there's a couple of other Polish fighters that are possibly going to be something later on, but we need more Polish representation, and Jan was a good one of that. Of course, Joanna was as well. So it'd be nice to see him win. I'd be happy to see him win, but I just think that the sport is brutal, and for these older guys, now granted it is light heavyweight, so the power should still be there for him if he can catch him, maybe. But I think that that's what's going to be the difference for Carlos as opposed to for Jan.
What I think I'll lastly note about Jan, and this is not even about his in cage thing, and I think is what it shows to represent what he'll be after the sport. It's like, when the whole thing with Bryce Mitchell and his moments, about going fishing, Jan was quick to reach out and like try to help and inform him on the situation. And that's not something that I ever like connected with Jan Blachowicz. Like, oh, like this is a dude that like has close relatives that were like affected by and it was really cool to see him like give an interpersonal side to it. Like I can take you to these places and show you like this is what happened. Like these are what I grew up knowing about, kind of deal. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree definitely. Yeah, that's he brought a very human side to it, which I think was a good way to approach it, which is kind of like how I tried to cover it a little bit when I was doing the whole analysis that I did over a couple of videos with it. It's like education is always the better way than to try to fight like that type of rhetoric with fire, so to speak. I mean, because that you're just creating more of a division with that. And yeah, no, I agree completely. Actually, I think that Jan handled that very well. And
True,
of course,
very, very wise and mature of him. And I mean, as a 42-year-old man, like, what do I expect? But like, that was just a perfect example of what somebody, they should be trying to do, rather than be like, well, fuck Bryce Mitchell, like he's a fucking retard, shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. That being said, Olberg, I mean,
yeah. That being said, all right, sorry, Polish power. I mean, all power to you.
Look, I want to believe. I want to believe, and as I said, I'm going to go with Carlos, but I would be very happy if Jan won this fight.
I hear you.
All right, main event time. Everybody's been talking about it, asking about it, thinking about it.
Even Sean Brady himself was asking about this.
Sean Brady himself, the man himself in the chat. How lucky are we to have been graced with his presence?
Yeah, if all else failed tonight, we got Sean Brady and we gave him our insight that he was going to go ahead and get this one done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hope to see you in the chat again, Sean, especially if you lose. Come over and
true.
Relay the information via chat. Anyway, what are your thoughts here, brother?
This one, like I said earlier, the staff is gonna be an issue over 5 rounds. Sean Brady is a wrestler exactly just like Bilal. He can do the exact same thing as Bilal. He can, I don't know if he's going to do it better, but he can do it just as consistent throughout 5 rounds. He'll go ahead and wrestle him. He'll go ahead and get him down. Leon, I'm tired of hearing this takedown defense up against the cage, whatever. Dude gets taken down and handled. That's what happens. So,
all right. Well, and we did talk about it a little bit. I wanted to ask you about this because this is something I brought up on Fight Show. I've been seeing it already starting, and I don't know what your take is, because I don't know if I agree with it, but I am starting to see it. If Leon loses this fight and starts to go on the back skid that perhaps an Israel Adesanya went on, do you think that Leon was a fluke champion?
Yeah, well, based on the performance that he got it on, where he lost for 24 minutes straight. I mean, dude, there was people talking about this guy he's the GOAT of the division. Like, he beat Usman. Now he's gonna do is just defend it a couple times, and he's up there. Like, blah 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 blah. This dude here. Let's go back to Nate Diaz, where he almost got fucking finished. Let's go back to Kamaru Usman, where he got beat up for 24 minutes and fucking 30 seconds. Listen, shout out to the kick.
But
we talked about it before.
He did go back and beat
he
Usman.
did, but you and I both know Usman did not fight the exact same way. He did not, like, he tried to stand with him. He tried to prove something like, oh, I won't get knocked out on the feet this time. And he lost. And majority decision is kind of weird. I don't even know how that even happens. One of them gave him a draw. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that might have been, yeah.
So whatever. And then Colby, that was such a fucking. He actually, I'll give him credit. He actually fought like somebody who wanted to win a fight that time. Colby, so losing to Bilal, I think that was just the tip of the iceberg. That is just the craziest thing. After all that shit talking, after all the slighting, talk about being humble. Like he did none of it. He did
Yeah,
none of
Colby
that.
looked terrible in that fight.
And well, I'm not saying Colby. No, Colby didn't stay humble, looked horrible in the fight. But Bilal beating Leon after Leon was not humble once, trying to slight Bilal that he didn't deserve the title shot, doing exactly what he felt Kamaru was doing to him for his entire career. Did that right to Bilal and then ended up losing his belt in the most embarrassing fashion. You let Bilal do the headshot dead and then drop you on your head. Like it's I don't know, man. It's really embarrassing, that matchup. And that really tells a lot. I don't care what he does after this. I'm always gonna know that, like, deep down, he can't back up the shit that he's talking.
Well, then, I mean, I think that pretty much says it all compared to Sean Brady, who has been doing exactly what he's supposed to do, bro. I mean, like I said it on
Only
Fight Show
lost to the
too.
champ, so
Yeah, exactly. Only lost to the champ, and as we've said many, many times, stopped on the feet in hostile territory. That's the other part of it too. They were a Fight Show kind of reminded me about that when because this took place in in Abu
Abu
Dhabi,
Dhabi.
exactly. This was in Abu Dhabi. They're saying that out there. Apparently, he was having all kinds of problems with people like saying they were coming for his head and like getting in his mind a little bit. I don't know how much that actually factored into the fight, but at least that was something that was part of their narrative of how things went down. So regardless, my point is that there are things regarding the one loss that he has. Of course, losing it to the champ is like the biggest of them, but there could have been other factors to it as well. And so other than that, though, the dude is fucking perfect, and his style matches up perfectly to get its way against Leon.
Yeah, Leon's just probably going to be too passive once again. He's not going to come out here with that fire that he did against Colby. I think the fire that he had against Colby, as much as it wasn't like a kill shot kind of fire, I think that is the most we are going to see out of like an aggressive style of Leon Edwards. He's just going to be on the back foot, counter striking, parrying, doing low kicks and teeps, and Brady hopefully is able to initiate the wrestling early and just keep Leon down, because like I said, the takedown defense that Leon supposedly have is not the caliber that people fucking talk about. Like, this dude gets held down for so long. Like, I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how it went down in the fight with Bilal. However, I mean, there were those flecks of moments towards the end, and then I think the third round.
Well, listen, everybody in the Discord, obviously the UK guys, they will love to make you believe that Leon Edwards won round 3, 4, and 5, if not, anything small 4 and 5. It's like, no, he got dominated for 5 rounds. Like, he lost every single round. I don't care if he cut him open in the last 10 seconds of the fight. He literally was dominated the entire fight, 50-45, like not even close. So
Okay. I mean, I seem to remember one of those rounds like miraculously going his direction for a good amount of it, but then immediately going back.
49-46. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So, but either way, I mean you would want that to be a lot closer, right? I guess is the big
True.
takeaway from that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, does Sean Brady just come out here and replay that same scenario? I think it's not out of the question. And shout out to Bill Buckwalder from Fight Show asking, what is Leon's method to victory if he has one?
I mean,
Reenact the Usman fight.
No, I mean, he's going to have to be able to point strike. He's going to have to pray that Sean Brady stands with him for the entire 5 rounds.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. And
or pray that Sean Brady gasses out in round 4 and Staff has not destroyed Leon by then. Like, I don't know.
How much is it going to actually affect him this far out, though, you think?
It's going to affect him. It's going to affect him. I think we're going to not realize, like, we're going to be like, man, he looks good. Like, he looks good in the first, and then second round, be like, wow, like, oh, no, he's done. Like, and he's just going to start standing still, and then, I don't know.
And I mean, if Sean is going to overwhelm him, like you said, if he gets the wrestling going early, we definitely saw what happens to him when he breaks a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that he was broken, as in like, he was completely like taken out. His spirit was not in it, a la Sean O'Malley versus Marab. But at the same time, you could see that even if he wasn't taking the craziest amount of damage, all the wrestling was wearing on him. And I think that there was an element of it that was probably partially frustrating and probably partially like, damn, what am I supposed to do? Like, I getting a little bit confused as to what the game plan is going forward after that, So
This will
yeah.
be interesting, I'll tell you that. Also, what is funny, I don't know why our ESPNs are different. So the picture that they have for Leon on mine is the one from the last London card where they have the gold gloves, but it's him and he's got the t-shirt on. So it's just like kind of goofy that he's standing here. He's got a shirt on and everybody else is just like in their promo picture. It's really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. That maybe it's a cash thing or something.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I don't know what. Yeah, either way, I guess that's
Yeah,
pretty much
final
all I got to
thoughts. I
say
mean,
about it. Yeah,
what's the method of finish on Sean Brady? I mean,
probably decision. I want to say because I think that I think that if he gets him into a submission situation like late in the fight, that he might be able to finish. But it depends on what his cardio is like through 5. I want to say that it was pretty decent in the last 5-rounder because his last fight was a 5-rounder, wasn't it? Against Burns, yeah,
yeah,
5 rounds with Burns. So I guess he can definitely make it happen through 5 rounds. I'm thinking decision makes the most sense to me, is probably the safest go. But if you're going to go crazy and go for Leon, then it would definitely be Leon by decision. However, he would end up doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I would like to see Brady finish. I mean, it's a long shot because Leon's never been finished, but somebody's got to, like, bro. It's one of those things where they'll just make up the excuse for staff, and it's a good excuse. But if Leon gets finished, it's because he had staff. Like he's undefeated, undisputed if he just didn't have staff.
The problem with that at this point, though, is that not having the belt, the excuses don't really matter as much. You know what I mean? Like, you can make any justification that you want to make for it, but at the end of the day, you're still moving downwards and not upwards.
True.
So, yeah, I'm going with Brady still. I have not heard anything that would have swayed my opinion that way. I've, on the contrary, seen the picture with the staff. And as I said, even if it's not affecting him 100% at the time, it still cannot help. So, yeah. So I think that's where that is at. Would have liked to have heard other opinions from our buddies overseas, but they bitched out on us. So that's an unfortunate deal. And going to always be a part of their legacy from now on. The stream remains. They were not here.
True.
So, all right. I mean, anything else that you want to add, Chase, before I wrap this thing up?
No, I think we are good to go. I mean, it came out just a little before midnight, so we might as well just have a good send-off.
Yeah, well, I guess my last question is then final thoughts on your face paint. Are you satisfied with your work?
Yeah. I think I did probably about as good as it could have came out. I thought I would have done better.
Would you consider next time doing the full face and then doing the cross like over the eyes and that kind of thing?
I don't know, because I think it is kind of more like if I did the full face, that's just kind of basic. But if I do like the Scotland one tomorrow and I just do it like over my nose, like the cross, like over my nose kind of deal, and then just like fill in the blue a little bit, I think it'll look good. I think it'll look good. There's a little something to it not being perfect. Come on, guys.
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, it's Joker-esque in a good way, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to be doing our individual watch-alongs for these fights that are coming up on Saturday. I will be doing it here on the Yama channel with the Vitz King. That's youtube.com/@Yama Show. Chase, I know that you can tell them where they can find you doing yours.
Watch-alongs will be happening on youtube.com/@CPSmalls. Catch me on Twitter having a good time @CreativeParton. And of course, you can always reach out to me on any social medias and I will hook you up with a personalized Hive shirt. We are starting to do country related ones and you can get your own flag on the back of this logo. So if you want something like this on the back of the logo, I can certainly do that for you. Or if you just want a picture of my face with a flag on it, I'll send you one of those. We'll start a Cameo here soon for you.
I love it. I think that's going to sell like hotcakes. So get in early. Get in while the getting's good on that. You can find me on Yama Show on Instagram and on Twitter. I don't know if there's going to be any videos out this week. I've been a little bit behind on that stuff, kind of playing
Probably could have
catch up.
got one out today, you know, if you
No
would have had a
shit.
little
Yeah.
time.
Good point. Yeah. The one that I'm editing right now is going to have to sit for a little bit longer. Thanks a lot, Badger and Tosh. Either which way, be back, of course. And of course, on Monday, last week's fights, the actual last week's fights will be taking place generally at 9. If it doesn't start at 9, it'll start later. And I'll let you know those start times on Instagram and on Twitter. You can catch up with us and hear all of our thoughts on the fight we just broke down. So till then, everybody, have a great rest of your night. And as always, fight on.
Change.